It's kind of like a tractor, a telehandler and a forklift had a baby. We've got a new toy to play with. Hey folks, I'm Tim, welcome to the Restoration Couple. In today's video we're looking at this beauty behind me. First up, let me give you a bit of a background and then we'll hand over to Oscar. So we renovated and sold our family home to buy what was left of a old dairy farm up here in Gloucestershire, and we've already started a whole bunch of projects around the place. First up, we don't own this. Blacktrac, who have loaned us our tractor, have lent us this as well, which is amazing. And we weren't going to turn an opportunity like that down when we need something along these lines to be able to move materials around safely, unload vehicles and all that stuff. Later on in this video I will be sharing with you some of the stuff we've done. We've got a bit of footage moving, lifting and shifting, so we can already start sharing how it's changing things around here. But for now I'm going to hand over to Oscar. He came down to drop this off and of course was able to give me a full walkthrough. So this is the one that we were doing the test driving outside in the yard up at Blacktrac. Right, we're going to be a bit soft and do it undercover. Right, Oscar's here, who's the brains half of the brothers, is that right?
Something like that.
He's the one that fixes stuff. So run through everything really. Obviously we went up last week, got a bit of an overview, but we're going to go into the details of it now and see what it can do. Plus there's a load of heavy stuff that needs shifting anyway.
So there's your key, the ignition. Similar to your tractor, so one click just livens everything up. And then if you go half a turn, can you see the glow light?
Yeah.
There?
Yeah.
So when it's cold, see how it clicked off? It has a timer, so that just heats it. Same as your tractor, when you turn it, it heats it. If your engine's warm, you've been using it for hours, you don't need to do that. This is your hand throttle. So if you were just driving around, you wouldn't need much throttle at all. For what you're doing, because you haven't got any implements at the front like a flail mower, you'll keep your revs quite low. Yeah. Unless you're lifting something to its limits, and then rev it up to speed the hydraulics.
And does that alter your drive speed as well?
Yes. Yeah. So the more that, the faster it will go. Your drive speed, you have got a high and low here, so similar to your tractor again, you've got a high and a low. Yeah. So you'd keep it in low most of the time doing bits and bobs, but then if you were
going down the lane to the main road,
whack it into high. This button there is a diff lock. So if you were in trouble, it's constant four-wheel drive. Okay. They work independent each wheel, but
so if Joe gets it stuck in the mud again,
put it in diff lock, and hopefully you can help yourself. Also, you can dig yourself out with a boom as well. Yeah. Interesting.
Does that boom extend below ground level?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if you were going to boom out now, it'd lift the front wheels off the ground.
Yeah.
It goes down. There's two buttons at the top there with like a cog on. For you, don't worry about those two. That's if you had an implement on the front that's like high flow hydraulics to your front. Yeah. If you had like a flail mower, something like that, then you've got a horn there, and you've just got your lights on one switch there. And then this is a handbrake. So every time, if the engine's running and you get off the seat, that will automatically click on. Right. So when you get back on, you just have to switch it off, and it will live everything back up. Yeah. Let that go out. Hand throttle there, so that's at the bottom there, and you don't need it anymore if you're going to rev it up. There. Then there's a handbrake light on the dash now. There, if you just flick that off, that'll go off, and now the machine is live. So the joystick is the same as your tractor. Pull back, it goes up, tilts. Boom, it's this button and that button, so that'll push it out. And that pulls it back. button and that button are for your two rear hydraulics at the back. So if you had a tipping trailer or something like that, so for you won't need those. Then those are for your front hydraulics as well. This is the valve I was talking about. So if you turn that in all the way, now the boom won't go down.
It's got no weight on it.
Because I've locked that off.
Oh, I see.
So if you had something really heavy and you wanted to be really gentle,
yeah, you tighten it through.
If you wind that in, it's also how fast it goes up and down. So we'll have it set somewhere there in the middle.
So that is kind of what I was talking about on the track.
Yes.
That would have, yeah.
So that'll do you really where it is. But if you were going to, I don't know, some big bits of glass and wanted to be really gentle, turn it down,
yeah.
It will slow it. So on a hook, it's just these two silver pins each side. You just pull up and twist, and they lock themselves at the top. And then the same the other side. Twist, and they just lock themselves at the top there.
Okay.
If you tilt all the way back, they do lock themselves here, so that will hit that and it does click itself in.
Yeah.
I haven't done that just because I've got the bucket on and I don't want it to flip too far.
Yeah.
But it's always a good habit just to jump off and check those have dropped. If I go down like that, I know.
Yeah.
It's also just a good one to check. It's all on the same headstock, everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can literally put anything on the front.
Yeah.
They all work on the same hydraulics here, all the same coupler, so you can literally mix and match anything.
So the hydraulics for that are under that cover.
Yeah, you just push that down there.
Yeah.
And then it literally hooks on. It's one lever, and it connects all three pipes at the same time.
Oh, see, on the end of these ones, there'll be a box type thing.
There's a male version, and it just clicks on.
Clever.
Like that. Maintenance of this, there's very little. The main thing is greasing it.
Yeah.
So you've got grease nipples dotted around basically every pivot point. You can put it between these 2 points, and that will lock, obviously this pivots, that will lock them together so it can't move.
So you could only go straight?
Yes, but that's more for transport that that's used for. And then this is a ram stop. So you may use this if you were lifting and you had to be underneath it.
Yeah.
Put that in on the ram, I'll show you in a minute. And check the fluids of the engine. Again, just that one clip there. All comes back. All very easy to get to. Obviously, check your water there, your radiator, and then your hydraulic oil. It's just on this orange cap there, that's a bit tight. It's got a dipstick on the end of it.
Cool.
There.
Is there a grade of hydraulic oil between like the tractor and this? And
they're both the same ISO 32, but yeah. So they're bulletproof engines.
Yeah.
They'll go on forever and ever. And then obviously the transmission in this is a hydrostat. So if you look there, you've got two pedals. You've got a forward and a backwards. You've got one pedal forward, one pedal backwards. So the further you push the pedal down, the faster you'll go. If you let go of your pedal, it will naturally stop you. Also, just when we're in there, you might not be able to see, there is a isolator key just tucked in around the corner there. So if you were keeping it, you're not going to use it for 2 or 3 months.
Just cuts the
take that out and cuts the battery out. It's also a good security feature as well.
Yeah.
You can see how good the lock is. You can turn.
Yeah, it's tight.
Yeah. Whenever you're lifting anything, you always try, one, to keep the weight as low as possible to the ground and boomed in, so as close to the machine and as low as possible at all times.
Yeah. The main thing is the forks staying level.
Yes.
As you raise and lower, because on the tractor you're constantly trying to compensate.
Yes.
That was probably the biggest thing, that you noticed.
Your tractor doesn't have it. It has float. So on the joystick, if you push it all the way forward, it clicks.
Right.
So what that does now is that boom will follow the contours of the ground. So if you were
you're grading something out
with your bucket, let's say,
yeah,
it will just follow. It has no pressure.
Right.
So that's also, and then it just clicks back. So
sorry, say that again. So I have to just click it forwards all the way.
yeah. So if you're going to go down and then you just push it that extra bit, it just clicks in, and knock it out. It goes back.
Yeah. Just going to go and hook on the bucket. Bring that in.
Then it's just...
So you do that whilst it's off the floor, so?
Just a little bit. You can do it when it's on the floor, but if you put too much pressure on the floor, it will be difficult to get your pins off, but obviously keep it as low as possible so nobody can get the pins under it. So it's just pull up, twist, pull up, twist on those. If you boom out, you can see a bit better while I'm looking and looking on. That's just personal preference. You'll get a hang of it.
One of the main differences between this and the tractor is going to be the fact that it will always stay level when we're loading and unloading. So I thought we'd do a bit of a demo of that.
Also, on a Norcar, the centre pin, it's called an oscillating pin, so the front and the back can do this.
So it's an uneven ground.
So going down the track, if one drops in a hole, the whole machine doesn't rock.
So the pallet would stay level? Well,
yes,
to an extent,
so,
yeah. So the best way to explain what this is, I was thinking on the way here, it's kind of like a tractor, a telehandler and a forklift had a baby. Because it's kind of kind of compact in as much as it, it's like a forklift. It's got a boom like a telehandler. Yeah, you can do hydraulics more like a tractor, I guess. And the one in the showroom has a 3-point linkage on the front.
Adapter. So it's the same as your bucket. You just hook onto it, the same you do, and then you could hook on any of your 3-point linkage implements you've got onto the front of this.
Something like, so if you had a post driver for fencing,
if it was 3-point linkage, it'd go on there, and then you could put it into your hydraulics.
And would you have to get an adapter for hydraulics?
You get the male end of those, then your hydraulics just
go into that.
Fittings.
Well, I better have a play. I mean, I have got a few weeks by the sounds of it to have a play, but we're going to go and see how it does on these fence posts. We've got all of our fencing here, these big strainers and gate posts and stuff like that, which are weighty and loose. But this is where the tractor struggled. There was a full pallet here. We had to handball off half of them. I'll be putting these back on to the crate, wiring it tight, and then hopefully be able to put it onto the trailer. Right, have a quick go in speedy mode. Now, if you remember, these were fairly weighty and a bit bulky, so I'm going to try it with these, because of course we've got to move all these next week. Like I said, we are going to be putting this through its paces, especially on the cabin build next week. But as far as weight goes, without stacking all those fence posts back on, the heaviest thing I've got is a bulk bag of ballast, plus it's got 150 kilo of cement on top, which hopefully hasn't gone hard. So I thought we'd just try this. I tell you what, this is probably a ton, over a ton actually, with all the bags of cement on it. That is it. Yeah, it's in it. But, yeah. Well, that's probably over the handbook weight, I think.
Yeah, it will.
I mean, there's always a safety.
That handbook weight, they'll always downgrade it. But as you can see, that picks it up.
But no bolt bag will be heavier than that, I don't think. I thought it might struggle with that.
You'll feel, it feels, when you sat on it, you'll always feel like it's a bit worse than it actually is.
But you're always going to get a bag like this unloaded with a high ab.
High ab, yeah.
So you're only going to be moving it around.
Exactly, and
so it doesn't need to be off the floor much.
Picking something that heavy off, obviously try to always keep as straight as you can.
Yeah.
And I boomed out there, but there is no need to try to keep it.
Yeah.
But it will do it.
So you were saying earlier that the telehandler, the mini telehandlers, and some of these are offset.
Yeah, so the boom will be to the left or to the right sometimes, whereas on this Norcar, and on all the Norcars actually, the boom is dead central.
Yeah.
So when you're picking up something really heavy like this bag, your weight is always in the middle. It's not to one side or to the other.
I see what you mean, yeah.
And it also puts a lot less stress on pins, whereas if the weight's over to one side, the pin's always trying to push against each other.
Yeah.
Whereas that's dead in the middle. Keeps you.
It's probably easier to load and stuff anyway, because you're always looking right down the smack bang down the middle.
It makes it a lot more stable. You buy these brackets off anyway at companies, eBay, and then you can weld them on. So you can weld them onto anything.
So if you had something like a bale grab that was for old-fashioned bales and 50 years old, you can still make it work.
Yeah, you can weld those brackets on.
Awesome. Thanks, Oscar.
We'll see you soon.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, and you.
Cheers, mate. You barely never need to reverse, it just turns on the spot. Well, there we go. What do you think? Already in some of the comments from the previous video, there were a lot of people saying, get a bigger tractor. It'll be able to do the tractor tasks and loader tasks. And to some extent that would be true, but there is no way a tractor can do what we've already been doing with this, which is weaving in and out of the cow sheds, going through small gates. For example, on Friday I had to get the front loader bucket for the tractor which was around the other side of the barn, beyond 2 trailers. And this is the route I had to take with the Norcar. Down through this gap here, around this bend, all the way down, pick up the attachments, and then I could bring them back through the gate and weave in and out all that junk to get back out again. This thing can turn around just about anywhere on the farm, something that we definitely wouldn't be able to do with a big tractor. We do need to look at the size of the tractor, but that's a whole separate task and on sizing the tractor for the fields. This is not designed for, well, in our application, we're not planning to take this over the fields and far away. This is all about the cabin project, moving things in and around the barns, unloading vehicles, material handling. I've got loads of pallet racking that I've still got to sort out and get that put up in the barn, so we'll be able to nice and neatly secure and stash stuff away, in other words hoarding. So this will live mainly on hard ground, on concrete. It's pretty level and flat around here. So some of the concerns in the comments were it's going to be top heavy, tippy or whatever. It hasn't proved to be the case. One thing I tried to pick up on the GoPro is when you go over bumps, it articulates. I think Oscar was saying, or maybe it was Joe in the previous video, as well as being able to do this as you turn, it's also doing this. It's kind of just a central pivot point. So it just follows over the contours really nicely. So I said at the beginning of the video, this is not a review video. I'm not going to be able to give proper feedback on this yet. However, I haven't yet come across anything that we've struggled with weight-wise. The bucket I haven't put to the test too much. We've got to we've moved the pigs to the woods now. So I'm going to try the bucket just to move some soil around. So that'd be interesting to see. It's pretty hard and compacted, but we should be able to get the bucket in, and then of course we've got the boom, so we can actually boom in to take a bucket load of soil at a time. Another massive plus is this thing is so easy to drive. If the tractor was this easy, well, I'd definitely never see the back of it because Joe is busy enough on the tractor doing tasks already. But this thing is just such a joy to use. It's just one pedal for forwards, one pedal for back, a nice little push button for the handbrake. There's no levers or anything. It's nice. I'm sure there's electronics in here which would be harder to fix. But if they don't go wrong, this thing is an absolute gem. So there we go. I'd love to hear what you think. I'm going to finish with a little dance here just to show you its turning circle. Huge thank you to Blacktrac and to Oscar for coming down and giving us the kind of 101 on the Norcar. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.